Hello, this is Joe from Mindfeast Games, and in this video I'll be walking you through the process of adding custom patient characters to levels using our modding tools in Cooperation MultiTurn. A couple of things to note to start with. First, we have another tutorial that goes into the specifics of taking one of our base Cooperation player characters and adding a custom image to them, so it might be worth taking a look at that video before this one just for some extra context. And secondly, to follow along with this particular video, you're going to need the mod package named Character Mod Template, that hopefully has either already been sent to you or will be linked somewhere alongside this video. This is basically just the base Cooperation game package with a few additional comments and other useful things that will help guide you through the process of adding new characters. To get started, the first thing you'll need to do is take this Character Mod Template package and add it to your game. Once you've loaded up the game, start by clicking on this modding button in the top right, which opens up a menu with a few helpful buttons. The one we want right now is Open Mods folder. And if you click on that, what it's going to do is open the folder where all of your custom mod packages should be placed. And if you're not sure what a mod package is, it's basically a folder containing art, Lua code, levels and sounds, all of which can be used to create your own custom game using our MultiTurn framework. In the folder that appeared when we clicked the Open Mods folder button, let's paste or drag in that Character Mod Template package. If the package has been compressed into a zip file like this, you'll want to extract it, and then once the folder is extracted, you can delete the zip file. Now let's open up that mod folder and go to Levels. This Levels folder contains files for every level in the base Cooperation game. Each level is a YAML file, which is a kind of text file that we can use to define the layout of a level and all of the objects that it contains. The file that we're interested in changing is the one named Level Shared, which contains definitions for all of the objects that are shared between the different levels in Cooperation. For example, every level in the game will contain some player characters and at least a few patient characters, so we define all of the player and patient characters in the Level Shared file. For this tutorial, we care about the patient characters, so to find those, scroll all the way down to line 320. And here is where you can see I've added some comments to the file, the parts in green, to give you some guidance on how to add custom patients with your own image. Just below the comment here is an example object definition for a custom patient, and the idea is that to add new patients you can just highlight this example, copy and paste it and make some slight tweaks. But before we do that, let's talk about the actual images that we'll be using for these custom patients. If we go back to the Character Mod Template package and then go to Art, 2D, and then the Patients folder, you'll find 3 example character images that I've included for reference. For the best results, when adding your own images, they should be formatted similarly to these examples. Ideally, the character images should be square, they should have a transparent background, and the resolution should be 1024 by 1024 pixels. You will also need to make sure that the images are saved as a PNG file type. Add your images to the package by dragging or pasting them into this folder, or anywhere under the Art2D directory. Now let's go back to the Level Shared file and I'll show you how to add a custom patient that uses one of these images. I'm at line 327 in the Level Shared file, which has this custom patient example, and to add your own patient you can start by highlighting this, copying it and pasting it below. The spacing of each line is very important when you're working in a YAML file, so make sure to be careful that it matches the spacing of the example. Next, we'll want to change the name of this new object definition to something that matches the character that you're adding. So for example, let's say that I'm adding a patient named Lila, so I'll highlight the name here and change it to patient_Lila. Then we need to change the texture name here to be the name of whichever image you want to use. I'll use one of the example images I mentioned before, this one named Custom Patient Example 2. So for the texture name, I'll type Custom Patient Example2.png, and with that, the object definition is done. So we've now told the game that our new patient exists and what its name is and the image that it should use, but how do we actually have the patient appear in the different levels of the game? Well, as we saw earlier, the package's levels folder contains files for every variation of every level in the game. Since 2 to 4 players can control characters in the game, each level has a version for 2, 3 and 4 players. For example, Level 1 Players 2 is the version of Level 1 that will be loaded if 2 players have joined the game, and Level 5 Players 4 is the version of Level 5 that will be loaded if 4 players have joined the game. Let's say we want to add this new patient character to Level 1. First, let's open the file for the 2-player version of that level. At the top of each level file, you'll see a grid that defines the layout of the level. Each grid space is labelled with a letter representing the column and a number representing the row. Then below this grid, there's a list of every grid space and the objects that are placed on it. If you search the file for every instance of the word patient using Ctrl F, we can find each grid tile that has a patient on it. In this level, there are patients on tile H2 and tile C3. Let's load up this level in the game so we can see it properly and have a better visual reference of what we're working with. Okay, so I'm on the main menu of the game here, and I've joined from my phone with two different players, and now I'll press everyone's here to start. And in the package selection menu, we'll want to select the package we've been working on, which is the one called character mod. Then just select a save slot or make a new one if this is your first time. And let's load the first level. And now it's loaded, we can see those two patients that were listed in the level file. We've got Chris on the left and Ed Banger on the right. But what if I wanted to replace Chris here with my new patient that I named Lila? That's nice and easy. In the level file, we just highlight the name of the patient we want to replace, for example patient_Chris here, and replace it with the name of the new patient. And remember, this is the name that you gave your patient when you added it to the level shared file. So for mine, I'll type patient_Lila. Now let's go back to the game and reload the level by clicking the menu button in the top right and going to restart level. And as you can see, Chris has been replaced with Lila. It's important to remember that this has only added the patient to the 2-player version of level 1. If I wanted to add Lila to the other versions of the level, or to another level entirely, I'd have to repeat the process for each level file. So let's do that for each variant of level 1. I'll go to the levels folder and open up level 1 players 3, search for the word patient, and then replace Chris with Lila. Then the same thing again for the 4-player variant. But maybe this time I'll have 2 Lilas in the level, because why not? So I'll replace Chris, and also one of these other patients. And that's basically all there is to it, just follow the steps in this video for each custom patient that you want to add to your levels. Now it's possible that there might be a situation where instead of replacing a patient in a level, you'll want to instead add one of your custom characters to a tile that doesn't already have a patient. That's a little bit more complex, but if you're interested in doing this, I've left some instructions at line 365 in the level shared file. That's all for this tutorial. If you're interested in learning more about our modding tools, you can check out the documentation, and feel free to drop by the modding channel on our Mindfeast Games Discord server if you have any questions. Bye for now.